So I'm going to do an infrequent series called Tales from the Dollarish Bins because where I live in Miami and South Florida, finding stores with dollar bins is not easy. But I got some stuff this weekend and I thought I'd just show it off. The first book is Cheval Noir number 10. Now, Cheval Noir is French for Dark Horse. It's an anthology that Dark Horse put out. It was sort of like their version of a heavy metal where they got predominantly European works translated into English, color covers, and black and white interiors. And as any anthology, sometimes they had one-off stories, sometimes mostly they had multi-part stories, and they would be serialized, and they would all overlap. And I became aware of Cheval Noir when I was reading Charlier and Mobius's Blueberry series, because the last story that Charlier wrote for Blueberry, the Blueberry character, was serialized in Cheval Noir number 46 through 50. And I became aware of this book, and so basically this is a pretty interesting anthology. So I picked this up for $2. Cover is by H.R. Geiger. This illustration is by Jeff Darrow. And table of contents. Table of contents is pretty interesting. It has a lot of people that I'm not familiar with and some that I'm a little familiar with. The first story is by Jacques Tardy and Benjamin Legrand. There's also the last story is by Philippe Drouillet and Jacques Loeb. So let's just go through some of these pages. This art is just really great. I wish I would have been aware of these great European comic artists so many years ago, because I was collecting during this time. I was just collecting Marvel and DC and maybe Valiant. I should have been getting this stuff, man. This story in particular by Schouten and Peters. I don't know who they are. I'm going to find out, because the art in this story is just flat out gorgeous. This is just really beautiful cartooning. That just, this stuff just blows me away. And it doesn't look dated. It still looks pretty cool. I mean, yeah, you can tell it's dated as far as something from the 80s or 90s, but it looks really good. You don't really see comic art like this anymore. And to be continued. And then here's a story about H.R. Geiger featuring some of the art. So it's not really a comic, it's just more art, but it features some of the art they're famous for. And then there's a story here, The Forever Man by Haldeman and Marvano. I don't know who they are, but again, there's more of this lovely European cartooning. Story Kutu by Andreas. I don't know who Andreas is, but I love this very clean but very interesting style. And then all of a sudden here you get this beautiful detail. This is just really fantastic. Adventures of Fred and Bob. I don't know what this is, but this like a 2 or 3 page story, so I guess it's just a one-off. And the last story is by Philippe Drouillet and Jacques Loeb. And Philippe Drouillet is only somebody that I've gotten, I know he's been around 40, 50 years. Maybe more than 50. I think he was a contemporary of Mobius, if I recall correctly. And I've only just gotten his art, but look at this. This is just phenomenal. I would love to see this in the original French oversized kind of appearance, and maybe black and white. But this is just beautiful. It's just like breathtaking. All this art is just great. So I think I found a new book I'm going to start collecting. And this illustration by Rick Geary. So there's that. So I think Cheval Noir is the next thing I'm going to be chasing after. Then I found in the dollarish bins issues 1, 6, and 7 of Archer and Armstrong. Now, these books were, the first 12 issues were written and drawn by Barry Windsor Smith. They were actually penciled and written by Barry Windsor Smith. Inking was done by either Bob Layton or Bob Wyacek, or maybe Art Nichols, whoever they had. But this series is a really great series. Barry Windsor Smith shows a lot of great ability to write a funny comic. Because this is part road comic, this is part that old seasoned veteran with the young idealistic sidekick. There's a lot of humor in here, a lot of dry British humor. This is just a phenomenal book. The first issue was, I have issue 0. I actually have it signed by Jim Shooter. And then the first issue leads into the Unity crossover. And if you watch the Cartoonist Kayfabe channel, those guys are always taking a big dump on Jim Shooter and Jim Shooter's Valiant comics. And some of them were not up to snuff, but this was great. And Valiant has solicited for like a year and a half now, maybe longer, a collection of the first 12 issues, $24.95 or $29.95, a trade paperback. And they keep delaying it and delaying it and resoliciting it and resoliciting it. But look at this art. It's just really gorgeous. This is Barry Windsor Smith in that early 90s. Like, I almost consider like peak Barry Windsor Smith. This is just great. The coloring is more 90s style, but it's still just beautiful composition. Great work. Just phenomenal. So I have a few more of these issues. I don't have all 12, but I actually do have a few of these issues. Just great stuff. And then issue 7. Just really great work. So if you ever see these in the dollar bin, issues 1 through 12, they are a great read, great art, just really great comics. And I'm glad I got 3 more of them because these are getting hard to find in the wild too. And lastly, I found Imperial Egg. Now, I know that this is supposed to be a freebie. This was in the dollarish bin. But it has art by a lot of emerging type of cartoonists, or cartoonists that in 2021 were emerging and now they're a little bit more well known. Covers by Jasper Jubenville, who I love. Work by Audra Stang. In the back you have M.S. Harkness, and this is the table of contents. You just got a lot of great work here. So this is something that I was actually stunned to see in the store at all in the dollar bin, so I had to pick it up. You know, it's folded on newsprint, but it's in great shape. I'm really going to enjoy reading this. And so that's really it. I'm not going to have too many of these kind of finds because just the way it is down here. But I was really happy to get these because I'm pretty sure I'm like 2/3 of the way to getting this run completed. This I've been seeing forever, and I'm glad I finally got a copy. And I'm really glad I got a copy of this. This is just really great stuff. So that's it. If anyone sees this and has any insight onto Cheval Noir, or any cartoonists that are here, they're featured in Imperial Egg that may not be a household name but should be, yeah, I'd really appreciate that input. Like I said before, I do these just to kind of like let people know about comics that even if they're not new, that they're out there that you should check out, but that I think you should check out. But also, I do this hopefully so someone can give me some insight, because that's the fun part, learning about comics from people who are fans and all that. Anyway, thank you very much for your time, and as always, read better comics.